Hey guys, great to be with you today. Thanks for spending this time. 15 ways to live longer and healthier. You're taking the 15-minute challenge, so to speak. Beautiful white Victoria's with me, every one of them. My friends Summer and Nick Nielsen, great pastors here at Lakewood. Nick's the author of a new book, You Can Live the Dream. It's on the USA Today bestsellers list. Nick, we're proud of you and awesome to have you guys with us. But we were talking about my book today, though. But great to have y'all. But Nick, what chapter you guys want to talk about?
Well, I think there's a powerful chapter that spoke to us that we could connect to is live in the moment, you know, not living in yesterday, not focusing in living in the present, living right here, right now, and just being fully available to what everything God has, you know, what God has for you now. And one of the things we were talking about is it's so important in relationships, like even in our marriage, you know, knowing and understanding that your spouse is a different person than they were 10 years ago. And being a constant student of those closest to you, the relationships that you're surrounded by. It's so easy to kind of go into coast mode and, you know, she's going to be the same way she was 20 years ago. Well, funny story. We were talking, this was a couple years ago when I recognized this, but we were going through just our daily schedule. She used to be a dental hygienist. And so in those days, she would have a daily routine. And again, this is well after she'd done doing dental practice. And I said, well, what'd you do every morning? And she said, well, I'd drive to work every day and I'd stop and get a kolache for breakfast. And she'd do that every day for years.
Yeah.
And here I'd been married to her and never knew that that was something she'd do every morning. First of all, it struck me as funny. Like, I never saw her as like the type that would stop to get this breakfast sandwich on her way to work. But I'm like, you got kolaches every single day? And here it was, it's silly and it's a fun thing, but it was something small in her daily routine that I had no idea about. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, here's something I didn't know that I'm learning about who she is. And we laughed about it, but I just think, so often you can go in your relationships and put it on kind of coast mode and go, wait, she's evolving.
Yeah.
Whether she's eating kolaches or not today, she's evolving as a person, and it's my responsibility to be in the now and learn about it and fully appreciate it and discover it.
And we talked about being like a good student of each other and learning like how he's changed over the years. He's not going to be the same person he was when he was 20, you know? Like he's evolving, and how I have to give grace as I'm learning, as he's like changing, giving grace in those growing seasons, you know, when we're changing.
Yeah, that's so good. Victoria, you're so good at that too, studying, you know, you've studied me. and
I'm
you know,
still studying.
but you tell that.
You're changing all the time. No, I'm just kidding.
You're really good at that though. Speak to that.
Well, it's like when I first noticed this is when when your father passed away and you began to start preaching. So I was just in our old routine. I was like, okay, we're going to sit down. Let's go have lunch and let me just talk to you and chat with you. And so we had lunch together. And I would talk, and you wouldn't talk back. And I was like...
On certain days.
On Thursdays.
On Thursdays,
Sorry, Thursdays. And I realized, what is the matter with him? He's not talking to me. And then I realized that, you know what, you were keeping your mind on your sermon. You were just wanting to eat. You were taking a break. You wanted to take this break. You wanted to eat, and then you wanted to go back. And I realized, you know, I have to honor that. I respect it, you know, and so I had to change. You know, I had to say, okay, I'm going to get into this new flow because I respect it, I understand it. And so that's how I started adapting to this new way of life, because it was a huge change when your father passed away, and we both began to minister. But you know, the burden was really, the heavy lifting was on you. And so I think that I've also incorporated that with my children, because the way I talk to my children when they were 5 is not the way I talk to them when they're 15. I'm not going to talk to them and treat them the same way at 25. So I've learned that, you know, you have to evolve as a person as well in your thinking, in the way you approach them. And you want people to do that for you. So you have to be able to do it for others.
Yeah, that's so good. I think when I think of live in the present, along with that is it's easy to either live in the past or either live in the future. And this was easy for me, or I did this a lot. I was always looking forward, you know, when I take this trip with my dad, and then when we get the compacts in, when this other, you know, if we're not careful, we'll be living out in tomorrow and we'll miss the beauty of this day. And then sometimes, you know, there's people that are living in the past, but we have to come back to recognize that today is a gift that God has given us. And, you know, it just, to me, the longer I live, the more I want to enjoy this day. I've been praying now, Victoria, I said, God, let the days go long. Because sometimes I wake up and, you know, I go do a little work and I look up and it's noon and I thought, it's already noon. And then before long, it's 5 and I think, man, life goes fast. I want to live it to the full, recognizing that, you know, God has given us this day as a gift. He's put us here in this time, 2023, and, you know, we're not going to be here forever. And I think it's so important to say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy Victoria today. I'm enjoying making these programs today. I'm going to enjoy exercising when I'm done and just really making the most of each day. Because I think, Nick and Summer, Victoria, it goes to, if not, it's, okay, now I'm worried. I'm worried about how we're going to make the budget, or how, you know, what's going to happen with our children, or sometimes we're living in, you know what, I'm mad at myself. I'm guilty over past mistakes, but got to let that go. Yes, have vision, but I think it's important to say, you know, God, I'm going to make the most of this day as well.
Yeah. What is it? Present, you know, when you live in the present, you think about that word present. Present, you can also translate it as gift. Today is a gift.
Yeah.
You know, we're not guaranteed. And so to train ourselves to live in the present is what's so important, because sometimes I know in my own life I'd realize, oh, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you can just take it for granted, but you don't realize that these ordinary things will become extraordinary in your life. You're building something extraordinary in the ordinary and sometimes mundane. We've talked about this so much that you could be doing the most exciting thing in the world, but after a while, it even becomes mundane. You get good at it, it becomes routine, so you have to always be stirring up that, you know, excitement for today.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. And I always say, when I first recognized you would get up in the morning and you go, today's gonna be a great day. And I must have heard that 50 times before I realized. He says that every single morning. Today's gonna be a great day.
Yeah.
I hear him say that when he gets out of bed. And I think that's so good, because you're setting the tone for today. You know, it's gonna be a great day. I'm setting my tone, and I love that. And so I started saying, today's gonna be a great day. Or I'll say, amen. As my head is on the pillow. Amen.
You know, Nick, even thinking about in your book, Live the Dream, one of the principles is you don't have to wait till you reach the destination. Maybe you can speak to that, because it's really talking about this.
It is. It's about our perspective, and I think, you know, people limit, I think, often their dream to when I arrive at this place in my career, or when I arrive, when I get married, when I have kids, or when I get the corner office, or this amount of money in my bank account. And it's a natural thing to do and to assume, but I think when you change your perspective, you can recognize and become aware that, man, I can experience peace and joy and satisfaction, contentment right where I am.
Yeah.
Could be single, not maybe where I want or hope to be in my career, but I'm here for a reason. And there's some things maybe about the character of God that I can discover. You know, you talked about the gift. Maybe the gifts are some of who God is that He wants to reveal to you while you're in this season. And I think those are all things that if we could change our perspective and go, wait, nothing has to change around me for me to experience peace, joy, and contentment. I can have those right now if I just begin to change my perspective, not look at what's wrong or where I'd hope to be, but just be present. And like you said, Pastor Victoria, go, wow, there's a gift in here, and I want to unwrap it. I need to take some time to unwrap this thing and be here. And so that's the idea, is we can have that, we can experience the things God has designed for us right now, the fullness of who He is, and it's just a change of perspective.
Yeah, and some of you guys have 2 beautiful children, and we've talked about this before, but, you know, it's easy to be concerned, and they're going into the new school year, and Denver's playing football and all that, but you got to come back to that place of peace and know that God's in control, and enjoy where they are today, and maybe you can speak to that.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember you probably preached this. That's probably why I know it, but it's like when they're little, it's like enjoy every moment, because it goes by fast. So don't, like if they're babies, oh, I can't wait till they're out of diapers and I don't have to do that anymore. Or the next stage, like, oh, I can't wait till they're, you know, more independent, so I'm not having to bathe them every night. You know, it can be like every stage where you're wishing it to like progress, and then you miss out on all these precious moments with your kids. And I was like telling a friend the other day, I was like, I remember Nick having to help me even like to not even do dishes right away, because he would take the kids out, and I'm just sitting there doing dishes, and I'm like, I'm missing out on this time with my kids, and it's gonna just go like that. And I remember him saying, we'll do dishes after, come outside and play. It was so hard for me, because I'm like such a routine, such like a clean person.
Get it done
get
right
it,
now.
yes, check off my list.
Yep.
But he's like, stop, take these moments, enjoy them. So yes, every moment with your kids, with your friendships. I love to point to, you said, don't take the people in your life for granted, because you know, you just don't know how long you're going to be with them, you know? And so I think about that a lot. It's such a good reminder, because you don't know, you know? And so the phone calls you can make, you know, to your parents that are, you know, in another state, or other family members, your brothers or sisters that live far away, you know, taking that time to, you know?
Yeah, it's so important. And I know maybe some of you are thinking, well, yeah, that's great, but look what I'm going through. I've got these difficulties, I got these challenges, but I don't mean to be negative, but there's always going to be something that can steal our joy.
Yeah.
And I know some seasons are much harder, and I'm not saying you're jumping up and down, but I would just encourage you to not put your life on hold waiting for something to change, you know. Again, you know, there's always probably can be something that can steal your joy. I like this thought. If you don't get happy where you are, you may not get to where you want to be. And so I think a test of our faith is say, God, I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to flourish in the fire. I'm going to enjoy my life today, even though people at work are getting on my nerves, or maybe I'm going through a tough season in my health. I just think it's important that you don't think, well, you know, if this goes on for a month or a year or whatever, I would hate to see you not enjoy that part of your life. So it's just knowing that God gives you grace for this day. You know, we were talking earlier with the Israelites. They could pick up manna, their provision of food, just for one day at a time. If they got 2 days worth, that manna would spoil. And God was teaching us the principle. You know, you have grace for today. If your mind is in tomorrow and, oh, I don't know if I can do this for another 2 months, or you don't have to. Can you do it today? Yeah, you have grace for today. So if you'll stay in today, and I think principle 2, Victoria, is not be in the past. Because I talk to so many people that, you know, their past is limiting them. Regrets, guilt, what they should have done, should have finished school, blew my marriage, all these things. We all have something in the past that can limit us, but you got to let it go. And you know, today is a new day that God has made. His mercy is fresh and new every morning. And again, when your soul is healthy, when you're you know, free on the inside, when you're trusting in peace, in faith, knowing that God's in control, that affects our physical well-being. And that's what the book is all about.
You know, sometimes you have to plan these moments. And because you don't know where to start, you know. I remember when our son got married, I was like, okay, I want to plan a day, maybe once a week or every 2 weeks. We did it once a week. We're going to have dinner. You know, didn't put any strict guidelines on it, if we can make it, if we can't. But it was a plan, you know, and it serves the purpose. It serves what you're trying to do. And so I think if you can just take one thing and say, you know what, at 5 o'clock when I get home, you know, when I get settled, I'm going to take an hour and do this with my kids. Or I'm going to take, like ourselves, I said, once a week, you know, we're going to have dinner. We'll all decide what we want. But I planned it because you have to start somewhere to really start enjoying those things, because it's easy. It's easy to get busy. It's easy to live in the future. It's easy to regret the past. So, you know, to make a plan, that's what serves the purpose, you know, of saying, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to start. And it's been so fun. We'll have our kids over. They'll come over. We'll eat, play games, you know, or just watch a movie. But it's helping me to go, wow, I'm so enjoying this time of their newlywed life, you know, and our daughter's there. And it's just sometimes it's that simple to just make a decision, to make a plan, to do it, even if it just starts small.
I think, too, I've always believed this, that we're living in the good old days. 20 years from now, we're going to look back and say, remember that, you know, book we did? Remember that time? Remember that victory when we were that age? So I think recognizing it helped me to realize that these are the good old days that I'm going to be talking about. Make sure that I'm enjoying them. But I trust that you are. Nick, I'm going to give you the last word, and I'm going to pray.
Well, I just think, again, to piggyback off of that, I think it's important to treasure the time that you have right now with the significant others that are around you. And I think I'd love to write my daughter notes in her lunchbox every morning, getting up a little bit earlier, writing notes in there, just random facts or encouragement or a promise or something to remind her of her value and who she is. And for me, again, that's just not wishing for tomorrow, just kind of going, all right, I'm going to get up extra early and just deposit something in her life, but treasuring the days she's bringing a sack lunch to school and going, I'm gonna embrace it and love this season. And so I would just encourage you, wherever you're at, don't underestimate the small things that you may be assigned to be doing right now as a parent or as an employer or employee. There's miracles that can be done in the mundane places of your life, and there's significant purpose in it where you can find a lot of joy and peace.
That's so good. Well, we love you guys. Thanks for spending this 15 minutes with us. We believe you're going to live longer and healthier. I'll just pray, Lord, I just thank you for strength and peace and favor. And Lord, help us all to keep our soul healthy. Lord, show us areas we need to release control, where we need to enjoy each day more, living in the present. Lord, whatever it is. And I just pray your blessing upon your people. Let encouragement rise in their hearts. Show them a sign of your favor. And Lord, I ask you that you would take them where they've never dreamed. In Jesus' name. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.